All right, let's dive in. Today, we're exploring two really radical and totally different paths for liberating the self from a prison of its own making. We're going to journey with two guides through the shadow, the subtle prince of lies and the much more surgical prophet. So let's get started.
And this quote, it just nails the problem we're talking about. The issue here is a self that's become completely lost. You're like a tenant living inside a mind you don't even recognize anymore, buried under the crushing weight of society's rules and what everyone tells you is moral.
So, where do both of these journeys start? Well, they begin in the exact same place. A world that looks and feels safe, but in reality, it's a gilded cage. It's a place of deep repression where everyone is hiding behind social masks and holding on to these stale, lifeless ideas about how to live.
This is what that stagnation looks like. We're told we live in a city of glass, this fortress of logic that's meant to protect us. But really, it's designed to keep our deeper, truer instincts locked out. Our identities become these decorated masks we wear just to get a little social approval. It's a beautiful prison, this gilded cage, and it's all ruled by this silent, judgmental judge that lives inside our own heads. And all the while, the true instinctual self, what you might call the id, is just muffled, trapped beneath the floorboards of our conscious, everyday self, the ego.
Now, into this stagnant world, two very different figures step onto the scene. On one side, you've got the Prince of Lies, who is called the Great Stimulant. His goal is to cultivate something new, to help you build a stronger, more independent self. And on the other side, you have the Prophet, the architect of the abyss, and his goal is totally different. He wants to completely dismantle the old self, to tear it all down to find what's buried underneath. Two guides, two completely opposing paths to freedom. So let's take that first path. This is the prince's heresy. Now, his method isn't some big, loud revolution. It's all about subtle rebellion, a kind of creative transgression.
You see, for the prince, heresy isn't just about disbelief or, breaking rules just for the fun of it. It's actually a necessary creative force. It's the vital heat that stops the world from freezing into a single, dull, holy dogma. It's this surplus of life, an energy that is just way too big and vibrant to be crammed into the narrow pews of tradition.
The prince's other main tool is what he calls witchcraft. And no, we're not talking about literal magic here. It's a powerful metaphor for a kind of inner alchemy. It's the ability to take a social curse, your own suffering, and transform it into a private blessing, into a hidden source of incredible strength.
And this is absolutely key. The prince is not trying to burn everything to the ground. His rebellion is a personal one. The whole point is refinement, to stimulate what's already there, to question it, and to cultivate a stronger, darker, more independent version of yourself. All right, now brace yourselves because we're turning to the other side of the coin. The prophet's path isn't about refinement. It is about total demolition. This is a journey straight down into a violent abyss, a surgical deconstruction of the self. The prophet's worldview has zero room for compromise. For him, if you want true liberation, those defensive walls we've all built, logic, morality, civilization itself, they don't just need to be questioned. They have to be ground into dust. And he has a very clear step-by-step process for this. First, you have to descend into the subterranean cathedral of your own psyche. Then, you summon the hollow sun, which acts like a psychic scalpel to peel back the protective skin of your ego. Next, you invoke the dead father to finally silence that nagging inner critic, the voice of traditional morality. And last, you shatter the inferno mirror, a final, violent act that makes the change terrifyingly permanent. The entire point of this brutal ritual is to awaken what the source material calls the tarantula of instinct. It's this deep, primal power that starts vibrating in the very marrow of your soul. And this awakening forces a head-on collision with all the masks, all the lies, all the hypocrisy you've been ignoring your whole life. It strips everything away, leaving only a raw, undeniable truth. Okay, so now that we've seen both paths, let's put their key symbols right next to each other. This is where you can really see the fundamental differences in their approaches. For the prince, the symbol for instinct is the black hound. It's not some monster to be feared or unleashed. It's a companion, an ally. It's a part of you that you have to befriend, that you have to learn to walk with, especially in the dark, on your own private path to finding your own truth. But for the prophet, instinct is the tarantula, a dormant, almost alien power that's buried deep inside you. You don't befriend it, you violently awaken it. It's a terrifying force that's meant to shatter your comfortable reality. when the prince sees old structures break. He sees a shattered rose window. And to him, this isn't a tragedy, it's not a ruin, it's beautiful. It's a kaleidoscope that creates infinite new patterns, new perspectives, and all these unmapped possibilities for what the self can become.
The prophet's tool, the Inferno Mirror, offers no beautiful possibilities. It is a ritual of brutal, forced self-confrontation. It makes you see a terrifying, powerful new identity emerging. And when that mirror shatters, it means the old you is gone, forever. The change is violent, and it's irreversible. So, after this creative rebellion on this surgical deconstruction, where do these journeys actually lead? What is the final state of freedom that they're both promising? This slide really boils it all down. The prince's path is one of creative rebellion, a process of cultivation where you build a new self from the shadows. The prophet's path is surgical deconstruction, a process of excavation to find a true self that was buried under all the rubble. The prince's ultimate goal is what he calls the free shadow. This is an identity that you actively create. You use the witchcraft of self-creation and the heresy of self-love to build it. The result is a world that is, yes, more dangerous, but it's also infinitely more alive. The prophet's goal, on the other hand, is the self-guided shadow. This identity isn't built, it's excavated. It's what's left over after you finally welcome your internal monster and end the civil war that's been raging inside your own mind. The ancient foe becomes the open master, and you find this strange, quiet peace in a kind of inorganic, primordial stillness. This final contrast is just so stark. For the prince, tradition is an anchor that you have to question, and the shadow is a creative canvas. Liberation is an ascent of the individual, leading to a state that is dangerously alive. But for the prophet, tradition is a wall that must be demolished, and the shadow is a primordial origin. Liberation is a descent into the abyss, leading to a state that is, strangely, inorganically peaceful. So in the end, both the prince and the prophet agree on one crucial thing. You cannot find freedom by ignoring your shadow. Real progress demands you embrace it. But as we've just seen, they offer two completely, radically different maps for how to navigate that darkness. Which leaves us with one final and pretty provocative question. To be truly free, do you need to creatively rebel against the self you are now, cultivating a new one from the pieces? Or must you surgically deconstruct that self entirely just to find out what was buried underneath it all along?